and then it's over to you. Okay. Live stream, it's going to go straight to YouTube. And unfortunately, I'm having issues going to YouTube, so I'm just going to go to live on my account for now, okay?
Okay.
All right, we'll do what we can. Okay. And we should be going live. Great. Looks like it's going through, Dave. So I think you can take over. Go ahead. Good.
Good morning, everybody, and thank you, Jillian, for hosting us today. It is June 1st, 2026, and the month of May is now behind us. I hope everybody had a great May. I hope that you closed the month strong. It was a weekend, of course, and I had a very exciting weekend, but now we're in June, so let's make June a great month. This business is all about development. It's about growing. It's about learning, and it's about sharing and contributing. And I really believe that that's one of the most important aspects of our business, is that the more you learn, the better you get, the more confident you get, the more you want to share that. I'm going to talk a bit about that today. And so as this whole process goes on, well, the whole purpose of it all really comes down to one word: change. We change, we develop, we grow. And we all of a sudden we discover skills that we've had our entire lifetime and never discovered really. Or maybe we discovered them, but we never really, developed them. And that's why I love this business so much, because it really helps you develop those skills, because it's networking. It's a communication business. It's a business of socializing. It's a business of friendships, establishing friendships and working with people and establishing their trust and creating a community and a family. And we all have our teams. And you'll notice a lot of times I don't say, our team. We're a team. We know that we're a team. But the reality is, all of you, my goal is to assist you in developing your teams. So that way, you become the leader of your team and you teach your people to do the same. There is nothing wrong with duplicating your efforts and having somebody literally, they get first exposure about all this from maybe you or somebody in your downline. They develop, they grow, and eventually start writing books about network marketing. And they have their own global network and their own team, and they spread their wings and they fly. It's kind of like, we all have kids, not all of us have kids, but I have 5. One of them, her birthday was on Friday. I'm going to share a bit about how the weekend was. It was quite a weekend, by the way, here in the Daughtrey household. And so, but I've worked with a lot of leaders and distributors in my 45 years of networking, and I'm not a controlling person. I believe in the opposite. I believe in pure independence. This isn't communism. And so I like to work with people to whatever level they desire. And if they go off on their own, I've got distributors that have written many books about network marketing, success guides, Guia del Éxito from Hermino Nevares. Here's a platinum elite making $250,000 a month. Well, I was the one that basically was the first one to go to Puerto Rico and do a presentation for him. We would go into houses. He introduced me to Wilfredo Velez, Abelardo Irizarry, of course, Juan Rosado. We would do meetings at the Hotel Pierre in San Juan. And it was a lot of fun. I'd fly there. I'd spend probably about 10 days, 2 weeks, because I'd bounce from from Puerto Rico over to the Dominican. It's just like a little puddle jump over the Dominican. Go do meetings with Esdras and Santo Domingo. But I traveled that whole island of Puerto Rico, from Ponce to Fajardo to Mayagüez. And we would do meetings, like at the Holiday Inn in Mayagüez outside by the swimming pool. And then sometimes we would do meetings in a garage with a whiteboard. This was before we had any social media going on or Zooms. And so what happened during that period is I established just a really good friendship and trust with Arminio. In fact, when Gabby and I got married, because I'd already started For Life, the only people that came and celebrated with us at Disney World, we had a Disney wedding. Gabby and I were married at Disney World in Orlando. We had our kids. It was Arminio, Yadira, and their kids. And our kids played together. So, and years later, Arminio, of course, went on his own, created INT, International Networkers Team, and then SEN, which is great. And I hope all of you have a SEN eventually. Some people don't agree in that total philosophy because they're all about keeping everyone together. Look, again, I let people do whatever they feel is necessary for their development and success. I am nothing more than a servant, really. And that's how I want to be known when I die, is that I was a good servant to others. So today we're talking about solidifying. We've covered prepare. My 4-step plan of action. It's real simple, 4 steps. Step 1 is prepare. And I always say, great football coach, not soccer. I like soccer, but I love football. Great football coach, Vince Lombardi, Green Bay Packers. He would always say it's not just the will to win, it's the will to prepare to win. In fact, funny story, he would take his team, the Green Bay Packers, all right, we're talking about Super Bowl champions. At the beginning of every year, he would take them out to the football stadium. Nobody's there, it's empty. He would show them the stadium. He would say, gentlemen, this is a football field. See those lines? Each one of those is 10 yards. The object of the game is to move the ball at least 10 yards, you get 4 tries. As long as you can make it 10 yards, you get another 4 tries. And your goal is to get past that goal line and score 6 points and then kick the ball between those posts and get another point. Well, the players look at him and they say, do you think we're stupid? We've been playing football since we were kids. Now we're in the pros. And he did it just to kind of instill in them. It was a joke, but it's like, you guys, it's about preparing yourself to win. And that's how I look at networking in a way, because, not everybody is used to going out in the world and socializing and just, meeting people, talking to people, developing people. So the average person, honestly, it's kind of new to them. And there's some fear of rejection, fear of the unknown, even fear of loss sometimes, because when you do sponsor somebody and they leave you, it's kind of like you feel like a divorce. It's emotional. In fact, people have asked me all the time when I travel, Dave, what's the #1 challenge you've had in your 45 years of networking? Very simple, controlling my emotions, because I put so much into trying to help the people that I personally sponsor. My whole, network, community, and family, and my team. I do everything I can to support and serve them the best I can while having a life, 5 kids, having a family. And so when someone does leave me for whatever reason, it hurts. I mean, it really, it's heartbreaking. But I've learned a lot, if you do your best, it's okay. And I learned a big lesson. It's not always the person that you sponsor that may be your superstar. It could be the person they sponsor or they sponsor. And Jillian's a classical example. Jillian's on my, 5th or 6th level, I think. And Jillian, you've probably never even met all the people between me and you. You've probably never met Laura Rodriguez. You've never met Herbert Vicuña. In fact, the line begins with Herbert Vicuña. He's like a, quasi naturopath in Ecuador. Nobody's seen him for the last 15 years, and he's the one that I sponsored. And then it goes Gloria Mora, it goes Laura Rodriguez. Sorry, you guys. Laura Rodriguez. Say that 100 times. Laura Rodriguez, and then Adriana and Claudia, and then Jillian. So, but the point is this. You prepare yourself for the emotions as well. It's okay. There's 8.3 billion people in this world. Trust me. There's enough people that would like to change their life, would like to have another income stream, would like to live a life of health and wellness, not just lifespan, but health span. Don't just live to 100 and be healthy. We offer so much to bring value to people's lives. And that's why I love this. You're literally bringing value, but you have to prepare yourself to understand that. So we covered prepare. Then we covered prospecting, the art of prospecting. And this is a social business. Make prospecting fun. I'm going to tell you a story. Over the weekend, our daughter Diana, she celebrated her birthday. Friday was her birthday, 37 years old. And she drove in from Phoenix. And so Friday, when she got here in the morning, I said, we said, what do you want to do, Diana? And she said, well, I want to go to La Jolla to go down towards the beach and walk around the shops. La Jolla is like the Beverly Hills of San Diego. So we went to La Jolla. It was the late afternoon, probably about 4:30 in the evening. Got down there and went into the shops, and we met our son Ryan, his girlfriend Natalia, and it was fun. I found some little trinkets I bought them. I bought Ryan a knife with his name on it. He's into fishing now, and he's like, "Oh, Dad, thanks. Because I'm going to use this for fishing." He goes fishing at the lake right by here, and he catches bass. They're like 5-6 pounds bass. And then Diana found her nice little cool little keychain with her name, just little things like that for fun. And so I thought, where are we going to eat? Let's eat dinner in La Jolla. And I called this place called Eddie V's. It's a really nice area. It's exclusive. It's right over a cliff overlooking the ocean. And I got on an app called Open Table. By the way, all of you that live in the States, Open Table is a great app. Made a reservation, and they said, special occasion? I said, yeah, Diana's birthday. This was at like 5:15 in the afternoon. I made a reservation for 6. We get there at 6. They take us in. They had the most perfect table overlooking a cliff and the ocean, and they put stars all on the table with a card saying, happy birthday, Diana. And I was like, this is so cool. Had a wonderful dinner. I'm full keto, by the way, so I just had protein, great fish, sea bass. And so we finished up, great Friday night, walked around, watched the sunset, took pictures, which will probably end up on our Instagrams. And that was Friday. So Saturday, I asked Diana, I said, Diana, what do you want to do at Saturday? Well, for family event. She says, I want to go take a tour of San Diego on the trolley. So we take off at about, 10:30 in the morning and go down there, and we buy our trolley. Actually, she already bought the trolley tickets online, and we get on a trolley, and it was about 6 hours total. And you guys, I wish I had my AI sunglasses on. I got to be careful because if you're filming people, the light's flashing, they can see, and it'd be kind of weird. But I think what I'm going to do is get one of these things my son has, Brandon. He clips it on because I had a San Diego baseball cap on. He clips it on, and it actually records everything. It's just voice. But I thought, I'm going to have fun being social all day. And what I did was I was very social. I had fun with our driver. Her name was Star. It was her third time doing the tour. And so she memorizes all and there's a lot of attractions in San Diego. San Diego was discovered in the 1500s. All right. And then I forget who it was. I think it was Cabrillo came back and the 1700s. And then of course, the Jesuits and so forth. But a lot of history in San Diego. And there's 11 stops on the tour. And it was a lot of fun. But we engaged in conversation because we were the only ones. We got on the trolley before everybody, and we sat there for probably 10 minutes before we left. And so we were talking to Star, the driver, but I engaged in a lot of conversations with people. That's networking, you guys. Now, did I give them my business card? No, just practice. And that's why I always say, I gave you guys all a challenge. Okay. I do it every day. When I go for my walk down the road, I walk 4 to 5 miles every day. People are going, by me, they're walking their dogs. I probably see maybe 5 to 10 people walking their dogs as well, the opposite direction. I power walk up the mountain. They go down the mountain and come up the lazy way. But nevertheless, I always wave and say hello. And I've had fun counting how many people I wave to who don't wave back. You'd be amazed. In one 4 to 5 mile walk, I'll get 15 to 20 people between the cars that drive by, because it's not a real busy street, and the people walking. I wave to them all. Why? It's great exercise. When you're walking, lift your hand up and wave. Just wave. If they're in a car, they're not going to hear me say anything. Just wave. All of them, but maybe one. And you can tell the ones that don't, you can tell they got an attitude. They look grumpy. They all wave back. They're all social. We're social creatures. This is network marketing. But you be social with a purpose to establish a friendship, a relationship, and bring them into your network, our community. Everything we offer is extremely positive. We don't beat them over the head. We're just simply inviting them to look at this lifestyle of health, wellness, and financial freedom, if you so desire. If not, it's okay. We've got a couple of different paths, which Jillian, we want to make sure we cover that today too. The two paths of Feel Good, Share Good, as well as Upland Pro. And so that's what I do when I walk. I wave to everybody. Now, if you're walking your dog, I'll always say like, good morning, good day. I even did it. It was funny. The Home Depot guy was delivering something, and I had to go around his truck. As I went around, he was lifting the gate. You know how they lift that gate? Yeah, I don't know, it was furniture or something. I walked by and I turned on my show. I go, Home Depot. And he goes, Home Depot. People are genuinely very friendly. All right. So I want to encourage you all again. Be friendly. All right. Be social. And you're going to find the majority of people, they'll just give the love back to you. All right. So on the Saturday on the trolley, I was quite social, even to the point where my son Brandon goes, Dad, he goes, man, you're talking to everybody. So let me tell you one real quick. I go into this place. We stayed on the trolley at every stop but one. Diana is a huge Marilyn Monroe fan. Now, there's a hotel on Coronado Island in San Diego. It's called the Hotel del Coronado, built in 1887, opened in 1888. Really cool story. Made of wood, over 2 million red shingles on the roof. The wood was brought from Northern California. I'm not giving you a tour, but they brought it down in the Pacific Ocean on rafts to build the hotel. Well, a lot of movies have been filmed there, like Jim Belushi's K-9. But one very popular movie was Some Like It Hot with Marilyn Monroe and Tony Curtis. And so you can take a tour of the property of the Hotel del Coronado with earphones on and scan a QR code, and it tells you what scene was filmed right there and so forth. Then there's a Marilyn Monroe museum. So we got off the trolley, just like a couple blocks away from the Hotel del Coronado. Beautiful day, sunny day, people walking everywhere. And my mother-in-law and Gabby needed to use the restroom. And so they went into this place, a coffee shop. And I went in and I saw this says Nitro Coffee. What's Nitro Coffee? So I asked the guy. And I have a backpack on, you guys, by the way. I'm carrying a backpack with everyone's bottled water and stuff in it. And so I asked the guy, he goes, well, it's coffee with nitrogen. Okay, I'll try it. So get some Nitro Coffee. Well, while they're in the restroom, I found this little bar area where you could sit down. There's a corner stool. I sit on the stool and I turn with my back, not realizing I had a backpack on, and I whack this kid behind me with my backpack. And I turn around and go, oh, I'm sorry. He's reading a Bible. All right. And I look at him and he was reading the book of Matthew. And I said, all right, brother, you're reading the Bible. And he goes, yeah, you Christian? I said, yeah, I am Christian. He goes, how long? I said, since I was 15. And he goes, awesome. We start talking. And he's in the Navy. He's getting ready to be shipped out up to Northern California. And we just engaged in conversation. And then he asked me what I do. That seems to be a typical go-to question. What do you do? Well, first of all, it's like, do you live around here? Yeah, I live in East County, about half an hour away. And I'm a networker, and I'm health and wellness. And you're young, you look pretty fit. He goes, yeah, I work out, I train. Really good kid. And so anyhow, I got my call. We engaged in conversation. Gabby and my mother-in-law left. They were out on the street waiting for me. And so I said, I have to leave. My family's outside. We're doing a tour. And I shook his hand and I grabbed my coffee. And on the way out, I kind of just tapped him on the back and I said, "Good luck to you, brother." And he goes, "All right, brother." That's just being social. People are very friendly. Then we got to you're going to get a kick out of this one. We get to the Del Coronado and we walk inside. Now, we go there every Christmas as well. The lights are just gorgeous at Christmas time. And we went there, went inside because it's really old, historical. And I asked the concierge, first thing I did is we want to take a picture in the lobby. And I just walk up to one of the guys working there and said, "Could you please take a picture?" And he's joking with me and he goes, "How much are you going to pay me?" And he was kidding, and he goes, "Of course." And he's a really good photographer. Took pictures. I said, "Yeah, you have a lot of practice." Again, I'm engaging in conversation. Took some pictures and I asked him, "Where's the Marilyn Monroe exhibit?" He goes, "Oh, you have to walk outside just across the parking lot there and you'll see a white building. That's the old pump house. That's now the Marilyn Monroe exhibit." So we went over there. As we were walking down the walkway to the exhibit, this couple, and I'm saying, well, I'm elderly, I'm 66, but I'm not old. Uh, he's probably a little bit older than me with his wife, and they come walking up the walkway. She's holding a brochure. I was looking at one of those stands with the QR codes, where you put your headphones on, and the lady walks up and she's telling me, she goes, "Get one of these brochures because it also tells you where all these places are on the property." And so we're talking. I look at the guy. This guy looks just like Newt Gingrich, the ex-Speaker of the House. And I tap him on the back and I go, "You look just like Newt Gingrich." And he looks at me like, "Who's Newt Gingrich?" And so I pull it up on my phone, Newt Gingrich. I just type it in Chrome. It pops up and I show Brandon, my son. He goes, "He does look like Newt Gingrich." So we do the exhibit and all that. But what's the point of all this? You guys, I want to encourage you. Just put yourself in a social environment. Go to your local hotel or whatever. Look, about every town has something historical, but just put yourself out there for a couple of hours on a weekend and just start engaging in fun conversation with people. Begin by waving to people when you're out walking. Hopefully you go for a walk. You should at least 30 minutes a day. And that's networking. Okay. So that's how it was. I have to finish this story though. And I appreciate you guys allowing me to story tell a little bit here. So we come back we get back on the tour bus and finish our tour, get home, and we celebrate Diana's birthday, have cake and everything. Of course, Odin, our dog, he has to jump up on the chair. He always has to celebrate the birthday in his own chair. And then we have to sing happy birthday to him after everyone else's birthday. All right. So we go through that routine, and then I'm outside. Real quick, I go get something. And one of our good family friends comes up to the house, Martine. Now, we had 4 dogs in our house already. We had Bentley, our little Chihuahua Terrier, Odin, my Amstaff Pit Bull, and Arrow. Diana brought her little teacup Chihuahua. They all get along. In fact, of all of them, Arrow's the one that attacks Odin, the pit bull. It's the funniest thing to see. It's like, rah, 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 at Odin. But the point is, Gabby's ex-husband, Marcos, we're really good friends. Why not? He's my stepdaughter. Diana's my stepdaughter, by the way. And so is Marcos. And so Big Marcos comes to our house. And sometimes he'll even spend the night in Marcos's room, once in a while, because he lives out in Phoenix and it's late. But he drove all the way in from Phoenix to celebrate. So he brought his dog, Mercedes. The 4 dogs are in the backyard having a blast, playing. Everyone, is getting along. Martine, a good friend of Diana, shows up with his dog. It's a Corgi Beagle mix. Imagine like the kind of a long, heavy Corgi body with a beagle head, big old beagle head and short little legs. Well, big mistake. The dog, first of all, it's 8 months old. It's not neutered. And he's in the backyard. The 4 dogs are out there, and you want to introduce the dog to Odin. Well, was not a good introduction. Odin nipped at the dog. And the dog got out of Martine's arms, and he was on a leash. I don't know how he got out of the collar, whatever. That dog hightailed it, heading for Dodge, down our mountain. And he went in the brush. We couldn't find him. Oh, my heart was racing. I got a posse together, all the kids, everybody. I even went to the neighbor and I said, Roger, we're in your yard. We're going down the mountain. We're looking for our dog, Max. So he comes out and starts helping us. And it's getting dark, by the way. Now we're talking 6:30 to 7 o'clock. And I thought, oh my gosh, because Martine loves that dog. You know, it's only 8 months old, and he always talks about Max. And I was just panicking. And I tell my son Ryan, he's our motorcycle rider. I said, Ryan, get on your bike. And if you got to go down the side of the mountain, whatever you got to do, just start by heading down the road. So he goes down the driveway and we're just walking everywhere. Finally, about, I don't know, a few minutes later, my phone rings. And Ryan goes, I found him. He's a mile down the street, sprinting nonstop, this dog. Those little legs are just going. I mean, he was heading for the hills. And Ryan filmed it on his motorcycle. He's going, Max, Max, wouldn't stop. And I said, Ryan, just get off the phone and just get him. He calls me back a couple minutes later. He says, I got him. I'm holding him. He pooped all over me. He used another word, though. And I'm like, oh my gosh, okay. So we go get Max, bring him back to the house, and I tell Martine, you got to go home. What's the point of all this? It was a dramatic weekend, you guys. A lot of networking going on, a lot of talking to people, just, activity, being active. So, I shared that last story with you because it was, I guess it ended up being such a good ending. But I was really scared because as much as we love our dogs, it's sad when something like that happens. Nevertheless, networking, being social. Number 2 is the prospecting part. Prospecting begins in engaging conversations. You're going to plant seeds. Sometimes you'll harvest those seeds. Sometimes you won't. Okay? Prospecting, one more thing I want to say. I hope you all believe in the law of attraction. Friday, I'm with Stan at the baseball field. As I've mentioned many times, I take Odin at 8 a.m. Took him this morning, but I had to come back early for Mentor Monday. But I take him down in the morning to the ball field. Twiggy, Stan's dog, an Australian shepherd, plays with Odin. On Friday, I was telling Stan a story about someone who I met over 3 years ago. Really, in fact, he might even be on the call here. Let's see if Jesus is here. I don't see him. Okay. He's going to be joining us. You're all going to meet him. So I call him Luna. All right. But some people call him JR, but his real name's Jesus. Well, I met Jesus, back in 2021, 5 years ago. I met him. Haven't talked since probably 2022. Well, I was telling Stan a story, which I'll share with some of you one of these days. I don't want to do it today, about Luna, Jesus. Totally cool. I just told him a story because something popped up in my head that triggered it, and I was telling him about Luna. Well, when I went walking on Sunday, yesterday morning, I walked down the mountain, or on the mountain we lived. I can go down about 40-minute walk down the bottom. I didn't go to the bottom, but a beautiful bench about a quarter mile down. Somebody donated from the Netherlands. The sun's coming up. Beautiful day, beautiful, beautiful day. And all of a sudden, I get a message on WhatsApp. Hey, Dave, it's Luna. How you doing, brother? And I call him on WhatsApp, and we start talking. And Jillian, you got to help me out here. Luna says he graduated with a bachelor's degree recently. He's in his early 30s. And he said he was teaching a class, and one of his kids and the students online, I forget what he said, what the community was, but I was the #1 hit, Dave Daughtrey. And the whole class was, talking about entrepreneurship and stuff. And Luna says, I know that guy. And they said, no, you don't. And he said, yeah, I do. And that's what basically made him reach out to me. So Jillian, I don't know I'll ask him, we'll get him on one of these calls and ask him what platform it was. But thanks to the work that you guys are doing on getting me out there, which I'm glad because again, I think we'll all benefit,
yes,
from that. And so I'm talking to Luna and he goes, Dave, because I told him, I says, yeah, I've got a website, Upline Pro. And he goes, I've already been there. He goes, I'm ready to do a fast start. He goes, about $750. And I said, yeah, these guys ready to go. I mean, so you guys, the law of attraction is real. Networking is real, you see. And I had talked to Luna back in 2022 about For Life and networking, health and wellness and all that. And he's really, I don't know how he is now because we haven't talked so long, but back then in 2022, he was training a lot, in great shape. He was in his 20s, so, but the point is, plant seeds. You never know what's going to happen. Somebody comes back to you and they say, yeah, you talked to me back when about this. Timing is everything. And here's what I did, by the way. So I called Luna and I tell him, you know what? I'm heading back up the mountain. I need to do my 4-mile walk. Let's talk. And we talked during the whole walk about For Life, networking, storytelling, all kinds of stuff. And he's excited. In fact, honestly, one of my calls after this is going to be with Luna to get him signed up. So I'll be introducing Luna to all you guys. He's ready. Stan, not quite yet. Stan's more reserved. Just, again, networking here. Stan, I've talked to him numerous times. I gave him samples, all right? Stan's not ready. Why is he not ready? He owned a number of salons, like a chain of salons. He cuts hair. And he just got so burnt out. He's in his 50s. He's enjoying a simple life. And he's not ready to do anything big. The desire's not there. All right. He's just wanting to enjoy the life of tranquility, simple, relaxed, but he's really into health and wellness. I mean, we talk a lot about apple cider vinegar drink in the morning through a straw so you don't mess up your teeth, to, the way we cook our food for our dogs. So he's very much in health and wellness. He's a customer. He's already a customer. He's not ready to get into networking. The point is, identify. That's step 3 in my plan of action. So we've covered prepare, prospect, which I've just given you some stories of prospecting, identify your audience. If they're not ready, they're not ready. The last thing you want is for them to avoid you because you're bugging them. The best way to attract people is leading by example, inspiring them through your hard work, and they see you changing. It's all of a sudden like, wow, look at you go. Man, Brandon, our son, he's leaving this week. He's going to be with Danny Lee, Ross Terry, a bunch of the For Life execs in Hawaii. He's taking his fiance. They're going to be in Hawaii this week on the Great Escape trip. Okay? So, identify the people that are ready to do something. If they're not, inspire them. You influence them, by the way, by continuing to follow up and just say, hey, I'm simply following up to see how things are going. If you're ever ready to work with me, I'm growing. I mean, I've got 3 people signed up now. I got some customers. This is really developing. And it'd be fun to have you because I like you. We've been friends for many years, or we're family, Because if you think about it, you guys, the people that we really want the most to be part of our success are the ones we love the most. That's why I've got all those trophies right there. Diana, Leslie, there's a number of For Life trophies right there. The Credendo Vitas, that one I got Bianca and David. They've only given 5 Credendo Vitas. They don't do it anymore. Dr. Rob Robertson, Erminio, Esdras, Juan, and me. So they've given 5 out in the history of For Life. And then there's the 1,000,001 right there, that black one. That's those that have earned over $8 million. I mean, I'm way beyond that. I'm like, what? I don't know, 8 times that. But the point is this. Um, you identify your leadership and you work with them. Now, me with my family, they don't all do for life. They have what they do. Brandon, our son, he buys land and sells it. He's just got a house right now he's selling here in San Diego, and quite a thing. It was a really good experience. He had to go to court and all kinds of stuff. Squatters, lady wouldn't leave the house. Got her out finally. But the point is this: they have the things that they're passionate about, but I still help build for life positions for them. All right. Now we're going to get to the last one we're talking about. We talked about prepare, prospect, identify, solidify. That's what today's really about. But we're kind of covering it all. What does solidify mean? Well, I understand that all this social media stuff, these platforms from LinkedIn, Instagram, YouTube, Facebook, TikTok, all of them, they're great ways to expose yourself. You get your face out, your message out, talk to people, all right, share. They're not relationship development tools, though. They're good for first exposure. That's great. There's only 2 ways to communicate. I talk to you or you talk to me. That's it. What platform you use, that's up to you. It can be, door to door. I don't recommend door to door. By the way, that's another story. I got another guy. Did I tell you guys about the pest control? I think I told you about the pest control guy. He came knocking on my door Thursday, I think it was. I was walking, doing my walk, and I told him, I said, I'm down the street walking. He rang our Ring doorbell, and when our ring goes off, my phone rings. Like it's a phone call, but it's the doorbell. I answered it. Some guy with a clipboard. Come down. He's 24 years old from Utah, down here, knocking on doors. And I said, I respect you, man. And I even bought his service because we're doing an orchard around our house, cherry trees. We got mangoes, avocados, pomegranates, lemons, limes, guavas. And so that stirred up the ants because we were planting trees. And so I said, yeah, I'll buy your pest service, but I'm going to give you some samples, Rio Vita, Ghost Sticks. I said, I want you to try this. And I actually gave him a bottle. I had a cold bottle of Rio Vita in the refrigerator. I gave it to him. He takes a swig because he asked me for a bottle. He goes, do you have any water? I got better than water. I got Rio Vita. I gave him, he took a swig, he goes, oh my gosh, can I drink the whole bottle? I said, you could. It's okay. It's not going to hurt you, but you might run to the bathroom possibly, And so anyhow, he took it. He came back to our house at night when he was done knocking on doors, sat in my living room. I didn't think to take a picture or anything, I could have said, hey, let's take a selfie. And I got to do that so you guys can see. Networking. Here's what he tells me. He goes, look, I'm down here helping a friend. He's the owner of the company. He's a member of our church. I knew what church because I'm a member of the same church from Utah. And so he says to me, I'm knocking on doors helping right now, and I'm making pretty good money, but I'm very interested in what you're doing. I'd love to learn about how to network and build, a residual income and he admitted, he goes, I stopped knocking on doors. I stopped making money. I said, I even asked him, do you make any money every time the actual pest control guys come out and spray? Like, every ant they kill, you get $1? You get rich doing that. But he goes, no. And so I said, well, I'll teach you, if you're, and so I really believe he gave me his phone number. All right. And we're going to be in touch, but he wants to, when he goes back home this summer, he wants to get with me about networking. That's it. Let's get into solidifying. Why do we have communities, church, religion, for life, events, rallies, conventions, and all that? It brings us together. All right. Going back to the social media, it's great for first exposure. It's great for this, for training, communicating, but there is no substitute for belly button to belly button. I call it face to face, meeting people, shaking a hand, that interaction. All right. That's how you solidify the relationships. All right. We talk about friendship and trust. Well, when you meet someone and you can look them in the eyes and talk to them and get to know them, and they get to know you. Imagine those of us that are married with children. What if every day your communication was through social media? You didn't ever eat together at the dinner table or breakfast table. In fact, I'll share a fun video with you in a second. You know, what if you didn't do any of that stuff? What kind of relationship is that? Or your spouse, better yet. It's like, hey, dear, you talk to him on FaceTime or WhatsApp, and oh, have a great day. All right, I'll see you tomorrow. Bye. That's not a relationship. So I want to encourage all of you, have your plan of action. And in that, especially when you're getting started. Now, look, I'm in a different position. I've got a lot of people in my organization, Gabby and I. We can't talk to everybody every day. I'm always at least 100 messages behind on WhatsApp. And I've told everybody I'm only going to work through the leadership now. I can't reach out to everybody every day and keep my sanity. I tried. I really tried. I tried to do it because, again, that's the emotional side of me. I want everybody to be successful. I want everybody to be a multimillionaire if they want to. But I have to work through the leadership so I can continue to develop Upline Pro and bring tools to help everybody. But you, if you're starting your business, the rule, know every single person as deep as you want to go, but at least 4 levels of your business. Who they are, their spouses, their cat's name, their dog's name, their kids, anything about them. Why? Because when you talk to them, if you say something that you both relate to, you have in common, that's how you establish the friendship and trust. They're like, wow, you remembered that I have a dog named Fido, or you remember that I'm a big fan of the San Diego Padres or something, Or maybe they mentioned that they just got back from a trip and you call them up and you say, hey, have you recovered from the trip you went on? And they're like, wow, you really are interested in me. I promise you guys, the more interest you take in your people, the more that you will solidify your relationships. And that's the glue, the concrete that holds it all together. And I'm proud to say, as we come to a close, here in a few minutes today, that in my organization, mine and Gabby's organization, we've not had one top leader leave us. Not one. From Arminio to Jeff to Sherry to Dr. Edward, I can go on and on and on down all the list. Why is that? Because that philosophy of together, that's the key word, together building people through science, success, service, and satisfaction. It begins with the culture of 4Life at the top. You go to a 4Life convention, you feel the love. You even see David Lisenby walking around, people taking pictures with him. He doesn't go hide in a corner, he's backstage sometimes, because he's doing something, getting ready. But I even had him stand up at convention, him and Danny Lee. And I said, when you guys see them walking around out there, thank them for the partnership. Because 1% of all network marketing companies make it past 10 years, and we're in year 28. That shows that we're a legacy company. Why? Because the leadership at the very top of 4Life that begins with David and Bianca Lisenby and then Danny Lee and the executives on down to us, it's a culture of people working together, a partnership, both sides doing their job like a fine-tuned engine that's running very well. If we both do our job and we both work hard at it, it's the formula for success. So, solidify. Keep your relationship strong. And I appreciate you all getting on these calls, these Mentor Mondays. And about these Mentor Mondays, it wasn't that long ago when Kevin Moore, myself, Gabby, Claudia, and this is Jillian, I think before you were even part of our 4Life family. J. Michael, he remembers, that's it. It'd be us. We have 4 or 5 people, We're going to get 100, then we're going to get 500, and then we'll get to 1,000. If we just keep doing this and providing value to people, educating, motivating, mentoring. This is Mentor Monday, so it's not always about the pay plan or the products, but we do have Medical Mentor Monday where we do get into products, peptides, and things like that. We do have Feel Good, Share Good. We got Health Talk. So keep an eye on the calendar because we have our two paths of success. All right. We've got those people that do not really want to do multi-level marketing. And in fact, some people, they just think that they don't quite understand it yet. And it's okay. Maybe they had a bad experience with it. And that happens a lot, by the way. They join a company. They didn't have a good sponsor that understood it. The sponsor had the wrong attitude where they were sponsored into something and the person's trying to make money. It doesn't work that way. Serve your people, help them make money, and you'll make money. It's a win-win. So maybe a wrong sponsor, not a good upline, no training. They're off on an island trying to figure it out by themselves. They've never done it before. Nothing's going to change. If you've never done it before, who's going to teach you? And so that happens a lot in network marketing. That's why so few people, but more people in network marketing than in the world. Of the 8.3 billion people in the world, how many millionaires are there? Very few. In the network marketing world, there's more millionaires, with a more percentage of millionaires that are made in network marketing than in the traditional world. And so that's a fact, by the way. All right, you can even probably look that up online. But the point is this: solidify your relationships. Keep them strong with your people. We got two paths. We've got the feel good, share good path, which is those that want to just be customers, learn about the products, and they want to talk about products. Homeopaths, naturopaths, chiropractors. You guys, hopefully this is jogging your memory. You all might know a chiropractor, all right? You might know someone who's into herbs, or a naturopath, a homeopath, someone who's really into health and wellness, even athletes. Well, take them down the path of feel good, share good, if you want. Now, I know that I didn't used to do this. I have a different philosophy, you guys. I used to always say network, 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 business, business, business. Upline Pro, that's the business path. All right, that's where the business training comes in, like we're doing today, about the four, in the plan of action, the 4 steps. Not everybody's going to want to take the business path right away. I hope they do. I hope that even if they take the path of feel good, share good, and they join good health stories and solutions, they join that. They get on the health talks and they start learning. There's no mention of multi-level marketing at all. Wonderful. We'll know, Jillian will know when someone's ready to say, hey, is there a business here? Bring them on over to Upline Pro. Now we'll train them. We'll work with them. They'll meet our community of those that also are building a financial future, establishing residual income, taking advantage of all the benefits, all the rewards of this wonderful business model. You see, we'll teach them that. So you've got both of those paths, all right? And it's in the calendar. In fact, you know what? We might want to color code those, Jillian, if there's a way, so people can realize that this is Upline Pro, this is Feel Good, Share Good.
Yeah, we can probably do that.
Now that way, go ahead.
Sorry, and we can probably just add the logo on it. So, have the good logo for those that haven't seen the good logo, and then the Upline logo should be on the event. So typically that's what it makes it clear. Can I just mention before we get off the live for some of them watching this, there has been a bit of a rebranding over the weekend in terms of making it clear. So I don't know if you can see that in my picture, but share good. And it is about the dandelion. It is about, opposites always seems to be the story. Dandelions are good for you, but we kept that hidden for so long, right? So the color of Share Good is still the name of the community is now called Share Good Health Stories and Solutions. And it's really just, if you think about Feel Good and Share Good, the Feel Good is really, just so you guys know, there is another community out there that's public. It's a public one where we're going to be sharing tips, natural tips, for naturopaths or anybody looking for wellness solutions. We're going to share some tips on things and help them, feel good, right? So that's ultimately the front community. Anybody can see that community is public. What's different about our Share Good community is where we share those stories, those testimonials, where we invite them in and we share protocols, we share practices, we share things that we know, including things that people are still quite unsure about, which is the natural peptides, which is immune system health. So I just want to let people know that this is a community of education. This is where we're going to talk a little bit deeper about why people need to know what we know, because we are gifted with some access to things that other people aren't sure about. They don't quite fully understand it. So how do we simplify it? So I just want to quickly let you guys know this month we are going to be doing a series of trainings, like educational trainings, called about the future of preventative health. If COVID didn't teach us one thing, it taught us like our health mattered more than anything else. Mind, body, and spirit, mentally, being trapped, and then physically not being confused. And then we needed to figure out a way to, transition that into educate people in the future. It was one of the reasons why the company exploded. But now we have to teach people going forward about being preventative rather than reactive. So that's part of the series of education we're going to be doing over the next month. We have guest speakers. Claudia's coming in. Helene is going to share some exciting things that she's been doing with testing some products. Jay Michael's going to talk about longevity. We've got Sonia talking about transfer factor, but we're going to have other people show up. But at the end of the month, we are hoping to close the end of the month with either Dr. Baum or Dr. Vollmer talking about Medical Mentor Monday that sinks into the plan as to why everything needs to be thought about when it comes to immune health. And we launch our new products July 1st. So we're educating you on all the products leading up to July 1st. So I don't want anybody to not go in uneducated. So we know what we need to focus on. July 1st, we're going to be launching the new products. And then you guys should be knowing about what they mean for our health, but for our families, generational health. Dave talks generational wealth. We're talking generational health for long-term health. And we need to be able to communicate simply, like, Dave, you simply communicate the compensation plan, but do we really simply explain the benefits of what we have when it comes to health? So that's what and by the end of this training, these next 4 weeks, you're going to get a certificate for participating. There'll be a little quiz, very simple. It's all about having fun. It's not, nobody has to get too technical, but it'll be a certificate, and it's going to be part of a series of trainings that we're going to do. How awesome would it be to say, hey, I got certified in immune system health from, Feel Good, Share Good. I'm not a doctor, but what
Jillian,
doing, right?
I've got some affiliates from Brazil.
Yeah.
That have actually gone and taken a course on immunity, the immune system. I mean, it's like a 1 month course, and they get a certificate. So that way they show the credibility as a certified immune system, I don't know if I want to say specialist or whatever. And they do that just for the credibility, but they do learn a lot. So it's not like it's not fake, it's real. They take the course.
Well, this is basically what we're going to be doing on these calls. It's like at the end of it, you'll get a certificate. My background has been in education. This is exactly what I used to do. And this is actually I used to give people certificates for attending courses on how to build relationships. That's what I used to do. But now the difference is that you were taking information that's out there and you guys just show up. That's all you have to do. Contribute and learn, and then pay it forward by letting somebody else know. So on that, I just want to let everybody know about that. That is in the calendar. It is inside the community. Please look for Share Good, join the community, but please don't just join, contribute, share your stories. Like Nellie, I know you've got some great stories, and I know you've got a new person here today, Nora. I knew that you said that, was it Nora? Somebody's brought somebody in. Nora's brand new. So welcome, Nora. Lots of information. Don't get overloaded, but it's about the community, and we're here to serve. Right, Dave?
Absolutely. That's what it's about.
Thank you.
The more you do that, again, you'll build an empire if you teach that philosophy. Upline serves the downline. That's how this business is built to success. Having said that, I want to finish by saying this. I am a competitive person. Competition is good. It brings the best out in you. Can you imagine going to any sporting event? I love sports. As you can tell, I got Magic Johnson's basketball there. By the way, I don't know if I told you guys, my son, that house that he sold, which had the squatter in it, they got her out. The sheriff had to go get her out. She left a bunch of stuff in the garage. A lot of Tony Gwynn memorabilia, articles, magazines. One of those baseballs up there, Tony Gwynn passed away. There's a statue of him here in San Diego Padres. I've got a ball that Tony signed for me up there. So we're going to put a little Tony Gwynn shrine together in my office here, But I forgot where I was going with this. But anyhow, I'm competitive, and it's good. Healthy competition brings out the best in you. Imagine going to a sporting event and there's no opposing team. It's just a bunch of guys kicking a soccer ball around. Hey, I got a goal. You know, competition is what brings the greatness out in you. We do have competition, a lot of network marketing companies. So I've been thinking, what's the best way for me to compete against all the others? I name them USANA, Herbalife. I look at Amway, but Amway is really a competitor in the sense that people that are, it's like a cult. If you're an Amway, they're very good about their training and keeping, you talk about solidify. I went by an Amway meeting not too long ago. It was in a room in a hotel. They were holding hands in a circle, all right, like a religion. That's okay. That's how they solidify their relationships with their people. So all this competition with other companies, new companies, there's a company out there right now that's Zinzino is the name. They've bought up a bunch of companies, Truvi, I forget which ones, and they bought up companies that failed. That's kind of the philosophy of the guy that's buying them up. I think, and I've seen it happen before, in David Lisenby's old company that he was co-founder of got bought up by Hunter Capital out of New York. Generally, they're just business people. They're not legacy networking believers. It's about making money. So they buy up the companies while it's hot and it's going up. They'll try to, just like stock, they'll take it as high as they can and sell it off. They want to make $1 billion. There's nothing wrong with it. That's not David Lisenby. David Lisenby, yeah, he wants to make $1 billion. And he's probably already done that by now. He's about us. And that's why I am so grateful. You guys, when you do say your prayers, whenever you do, be grateful that we have such a great partnership with people that care about us. They love us. And he feels a tremendous sense of responsibility on doing the right thing for us too, not just selling us off and making $1 billion. So our competitors, if we do what we're doing now, providing these options, the two paths, in our community, working together, there really is no competition. It's fun, and you're going to get people that are going to compare, their company to your company. Don't get into when I served a mission in South America, that was kind of a rule of thumb. If you start talking about, we call the gospel, as soon as someone starts bashing with you about something, the spirit is gone. All right. You keep the spirit. The same applies in network marketing. If something comes up where it's like, touche, let's have a sword fight. If it's fun, okay, I have a hybrid unilevel with the back end, infinity, plan. You've got a binary. All right, let's talk about it. All right. I did that with Vicus. I don't know if Vicus is here. By the way, yeah, Vicus is here. Vicus, we're glad you're back. I'm not going to tell Vicus's story, but he's been unable to be with us for a while. And so we're just glad that he's feeling better and back. So, but anyhow, competition's good. All right. Don't worry about it. If we do what we do and we do it well, we will attract a lot of people. The law of attraction, just like with Luna, I got him. Anyhow, thank you, everyone. We love you. It's 10:03. Let's unmute the mics. And thanks for being with us today. And look forward to seeing you during the week on the other meetings. All right. I'll be on the Life Legacy meeting on Wednesday.